Your Majesty at your service. Welcome to Fair Fiend Talks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my podcast, Armour. Entering the new year, I had set new expectations to how the world and society would respond to the major issues and challenges we experience. So when I turned on the news at the start of the year and heard about the murder of Andre Maurice Hill, I felt a sense of disappointment, which served as a reminder of the realities and impact of the concept and categorization of race in our societies. Andre Maurice Hill was the second African-American man fatally shot dead by police in the city of Columbus, Ohio, USA, on December 22nd. In the same city, earlier that month, December 4th, Casey Goodson Jr., another innocent and unarmed African-American man, was fatally shot dead by police. What left me disappointed about this news is the fact that last year there were protests globally against crimes by police against innocent, unarmed Black people. The Black Lives Matter presence was on the streets, governments, organizations, and all forms of media. No one, literally no one, who has access to the modern world can say, I haven't heard of Black Lives Matter. Whether they agree or not, the movement was strong mid-2020. As an equality, diversity, and inclusion professional, I'm confident that workplaces globally have been working on creating specific race equality agendas, and I'm sure that the police force in America is no different. The number one thing that most organizations run are unconscious bias training courses to help their workforce to identify and work on their internal bias. Organizations who are a bit more progressive and challenge their workforce may consider creating training or workshops on anti-racism and privilege. Essentially, what I am saying is that most organizations claim to have zero tolerance for discrimination and want their workforce to follow suit. With this in mind, I would and do expect white police officers to be more conscious and aware when they are dealing with citizens of the African diaspora. I would and do expect white police officers to be aware that when they are wearing their police uniforms, they are not only in a position of enforcing the law, but in a position of power. The power to make a difference for the citizens of the geographical location they swore to protect and serve. And in the world today, the progressive world, I would and do expect white officers to remember that white privilege is being challenged at every level, and that you can no longer get away with killing innocent, unarmed Black people. The killing of every innocent, unarmed Black person in this world is no longer simply a news story. It's fuel for protest, evidence to illustrate systemic racism, and it is an added reason to continue to advocate for the humanity of Black people in this world. I say all this because in this episode, I want to ensure that we are equipped with digital and mental armor to combat the battles we face in this world because of racial injustice. If you are a Black person, have African ancestry, have Black family or friends, and believe in the humanity of each and every living, breathing person in this world, then this episode is for you. Armor can be defined as defensive covering for the body, covering used in combat, a protective outer layer, or a quality or circumstance that affords protection. In a world where Black people are dealing with racial injustice, we need things that afford Black people protection of being discriminated against, while seeking justice for being treated unfairly. Personally, I don't believe in guns, and I'm happy to live in the UK where the everyday police force don't possess guns. However, guns are not the only forms of protecting ourselves. It is evident over the past few years that video footage of claims of discrimination has been a good source of evidence and digitally protecting Black lives. Moreover, the increased level of confidence and self-love Black people all over the world are inhabiting is becoming a great source of mental protection. Combined, this type of digital and mental armor is what is going to be our best way of combating racial inequality in legal cases and generally in life. This year has just started, and the impact of the concept and categorization of race in our societies isn't going to go away. Nevertheless, it is my desire to advocate for the humanity of Black people and to do something about my feelings of disappointment about the murder of innocent and unarmed Black people. It is my duty as your fairy queen to equip you with digital and mental armor, so that when you do go out in this world, providing your social distance and all that, that you are attentive to the injustices that occur each day and not be silent about it or be a bystander. Be the difference, be the change. So, what does digital armor look like? Simple. See it, record it, and call it out. Our mobile phones track us, hear our conversations, and should leave us feeling empowered wherever we go. If you record an incident of racial injustice, it will not only make a record of what you are seeing, but also what time and the exact geographical location. What we need is concrete evidence to fight our cases legally. The time for only completing a complaints form is over. See it, record it, and call it out. Let people know that you do not stand for racial injustice. You don't have to be a Black person to record something, or it doesn't even have to be your experience. We need evidence of all angles and all sorts of people. And if you didn't have time to share the video with a person affected, post it on social media. And believe it or not, there is such a thing as Black Twitter, and they will blow it up if necessary. It's time for you to use your smartphone in a smart way. And what does mental armor look like? Inyala Van Zandt said it best when she said, "There is no greater battle in life than the battle between the parts of you that wants to be healed and the parts of you that are comfortable and content remaining broken." Before we dedicate energy in fighting the battles outside of ourselves, we need to fix the internal battles. Once we have dealt with our internal broken parts and have gone through internal healing, we can be in a place where we can be confident in who we are and love ourselves despite the impact of the concept of race and categorization imposed on us. We can then find it within ourselves to fight for the racial inequality because we have dealt with the internal issues of inferiority or superiority and view ourselves and others as human beings and not as stereotypes imposed on each of us based on our physical characteristics. As much as it is a place of comfort to be in your own bubble, remember that as much as we are aware and conscious, we live in a world that has not progressed at the same rate as knowledge that exists. And because of that, we need to equip ourselves with digital and mental armor to combat the racial injustice that exists in our society today. At the end of each episode, I address the Queendom. Racial equality is still on the agenda for 2021. Arm yourself digitally and mentally to combat racial injustice. See it, record it, and call it out. Fight the battles within yourself before standing on the front lines. Thank you so much for listening to Fairy Queen Talks. See you next time.